This place is pretty dead. By which I mean, there's nothing to kill.
So today, November 26th, this is my second year of playing Genshin. I'm not actually streaming Genshin, but I wanted to record what my progress is in the past 2 years of playing this game. And no other
I wonder what the
day
rest of the Harbingers are up to.
do this than the
Plotting and scheming on
second year of
an
me
ever
playing.
grander scale, no doubt.
So I'm gonna be looking at my different characters and just going through them one by one. And I suppose I'm gonna start with those that I've gotten. So the first one we received, of course, is Amber. And yeah, she's bad. Help you with the fire totems, and basically that's it. Although I actually happen to build Amber. Oh no. And like you know, just some talents here and there, and I think I used the prototype crescent. But other than that, I basically don't use her anymore. Then the next one will be Kaya. Okay, so Kaya is the next character that we get. So Kaya is actually my first triple crowned unit, and I'm already at Constellation 3. Since I really like his character, and his Japanese voice actor happens to be the same voice actor for Kiba Inuzuka, which is one of my favorite characters in Naruto, and also the avatar of my YouTube or other things. So yeah, I pulled the Mistleader for him, and I have a Lizard set, although it's not with him right now. So I'm planning to pull on I'm planning to buy on the shop his constellations. So then this coming December he's gonna be C4, and might take December next year just to get him to C6. Next character we get is Lisa. Basically, not yet. I can't use her yet, although I did get one from the standard banner constellation, and I bought this from the shop. It will take a long time for me to even get C6 for me to start to use her. And so we get Noelle for the first 4-star that I got because of the Noelle banner. And yeah, I have a host set for her, and then she can also use the Red Horn Stone Treasure, although I originally pulled this for Ito. So she's at C6, and it's 7 and 11. She's okay, but of course she's beaten by Ito by a large margin, especially in single target. So I'm not gonna be using Noelle so much. But even with corrosion, we have Goro to heal, so healing is not a problem for that. And then I think the next one I got was Xingqiu. So Xingqiu is one of my most used characters, of course, because of the Hydra application. And this is not his artifacts, but I give him the Sacrificial Sword. So this is my go-to, and we have the Alpha bonus, or sometimes I'm okay. I need the particles. So he's at C6, and with 12 and 13 talents for the burst. I like his skill because it's It's very strong, and the Constellation 4 gives a 50%, a 1.5 times multiplier, which most of, I think this is the only constellation that gives such a multiplier that's not additive but rather multiplicative. So Xingqiu is one of the best units in the game, so you can use him with the Pyro units, you can use it with freeze teams, you can use him in Dendro teams, Electrocharge teams, so a lot of things I can use him. I usually use him with Kaya as well in my Kaya team. So Kaya, Xingqiu, Chongyun, and Kazuha. So Xingqiu is all the healer that I need in that team, because Kaya can heal as well. And then the next one I think I got was Bennett. So Bennett, of course, I think one of the best, if not the best 4-star in the game. So I happened to get the Kila Fabonia first before I got the Mist Splitter. So I lost the first one. And yeah, I just build him for energy recharge most of the time. But I actually have him triple crown as well, because I do use him as a main DPS in some situations. Especially in the recent one, in the Cryohypostasis event, and he's C6. So Crimson Witch of Flames for him. I think the highest I got with Bennett is like 500k burst damage. Yeah. Okay, who's next? So I think we got Barbara next. So Barbara used to be my go-to healer before, until Bennett was sufficient enough to be able to heal, and then I just use Barbara if I need some healing or some Hydra application, maybe on challenges that needs only 4 stars. So she usually uses Shrilling Tails, though can also use the prototype member. Artifacts doesn't really matter that much, but sometimes I can give her instructors, sometimes the Ocean Youth Glam, and not really much. So she's also C6, 99 talents, 199 talents. Nothing too special, though I do miss her first voice before it was changed. It was more lively that time.
I wonder when I'll be as tall as my big
so
sister.
For the other, I think we have Razor next. So Razor used to be my main DPS. Like you have Ether first, and then when I got Razor, I made him my DPS at that time. Maybe I think I leveled him up to 40. And then I was using this prototype Arcake at that time. But then I happened to get Diluc in the standard banner around the maybe 23 pulls. So I switched to Diluc. And Diluc became my main DPS starting around December 2020. So Diluc really became my first really good DPS at that time. And for Razor, he's supposed to be just level 80, but I wanted to try the Thundering Fury build, so I had to level him to 90 when Dendro came. And I actually also leveled the Rain Slasher just to see the Virgin and the Hyper Blooms for Razor, and then I give him the Gilded Tree. So C6 and 6 talents. I actually don't have a very good physical set, so I don't use any physical units. Razor. We also have Chongyun. Okay, Chongyun is I usually just use Chongyun whenever I use Kaya, and I rarely use him in other teams. I don't usually use him for the reverse Chongyun melt. Before I can use him with Bennett, because my Bennett was not C6 yet and they can do the melt one. But right now, Bennett overrides the Cryo Infusion, so I can't use Chongyun that great with him anymore. My go-to weapon for him is the Sacrificial Sword for Kaya, so I can always cast down his skill. The skill is also very useful since it reduces the countdown, the cooldown of the skills and the burst, has within the field, so it makes the rotation smoother with Xingqiu, Kazuha, and Kaya. And it also reduces the elemental resistance, the cry resistance of enemies once the skill ends. Can't remember where that talent is, but anyway, wait. That's why I don't max Chongyun, because it's just for the skill and the resistance shred. I think I skipped Ningguang. I really didn't build Ningguang when I got her. I think she was the third one I got. So Noelle first, then Xingqiu, and then Ningguang. Then the fourth one was Bennett. So at that time when I was starting to play Genshin, I heard that Ningguang was good, but they say you need to have at least C1, but I don't have the C1, so I didn't build her. Yeah, she's C6 now, but I still cannot make her do good damage, even though I did the Solar Pearl and like 80 to 200 crit damage. I don't know what to do. Yeah. Ito will always be my go-to Geo damage dealer. And other units I think I got, let's say Diona and Xinyan were the new characters. Their banners were at, I think I missed Diona's banner because I started playing around when Tartalia's banner was first released, and I didn't get Diona. But I happened to get Xinyan in the Zhongli banner, so I tried to pull there, though I did not get Zhongli. I actually don't know what's happening in the game, so whether I was gonna get Zhongli or not, I didn't care much. So I just got Xinyan, but didn't use her much. So I think the only time I happened to use her was in the Abyss, where I just got Xiao there and I needed a shielder, and I think I used Xinyan to be my shielder at that time, around the time when Xiao first came. I was using Diluc on one side and Xiao on the other side. I needed a shielder, and I think Xinyan did something maybe. Although now I do have her at 999 and C6, and she's built for Pyro with C6 Planet. Though I can hit maybe around 22 to 25k charge attacks, but still not enough be used as the main DPS for me. And I got Diona in Xiao's banner, I think. There was a rerun there. And yes, Diona was a very good addition to the account. She provided a shield, and she gave me energy. So I was using Diona as my go-to shielder for Xiao now. I had to ditch Xinyan because her shield was weak, and Diona can heal and shield. So Diona was my go-to shielder for Xiao at that time, until I got Zhongli. And then when I got Zhongli, Diona didn't see much field time until I got C6, but I actually only used C6 Diona for doing some damage showcase, or trying to see like what the highest damage you can do for Diluc or the melt damages, and not so many other teams I use Diona for. Then I also have Beidou. So Beidou, I didn't build her immediately at the start. I think I started building her when Tartalia's first rerun came, and I got Tartalia, and I was interested in doing the Electrocharge with Fischl. Yes, the Electrocharge with Fischl. So I really liked her. She's really strong, and so I crowned her first. And they do good with Fischl at that time. Talking about Fischl, so Fischl
If you
is
ever want to trade tactics, I'm always
character
ready.
that is really strong, but unfortunately, in the first year that I played Genshin, I only managed to get her to C2, and at times that when her banner was there, I didn't like the 5 stars. For example, I think Yai Miko, and the first one I didn't want to poke for Yai, so I had to skip that one. I couldn't get Fischl, and I recently just got her to C6, and I think in the latest banner where Fischl was featured in, and ever since then, and when Dendro came out, she's really been doing great alongside Keqing. So Keqing and Fischl, they really obliterate a lot of things together. So my main weapon for Fischl is the stringless, and unfortunately my artifacts are all over the place, and a lot of units share their artifacts. I can't really show them. So yeah. So I also crowned the skill. Other 4 stars. Hopefully I didn't miss anyone. Xiangling, of course. Xiangling I got, of course, from the Spiral Abyss. And then I didn't build her much before. I think even when I got Tartaglia, I didn't build Xiangling immediately. But there was a time that there was an abyss where there were 2 electro lectors and in the floor 12-3, and I needed someone to break their shields. So I got Xiangling to maybe around 80 and I leveled her up, and and then after that I watched a lot of videos, and they said that I have to pair Xiangling with Xingqiu. She didn't have that ICD. I could pair her with Tartaglia, and then ever since seeing the ridiculous damage of Xiangling, never went back. I had to crown the burst of Xiangling by make her use Crimson Witch and the deathmatch. I think deathmatch is my go-to for Xiangling because of the high crit rate. And since Bennett gives a lot of attack, it doesn't matter if deathmatch has a low attack, and Xiangling also ascends with Elemental Mastery, so I have her stats okay. So yeah, Xiangling is one of my most broken pyro characters. Yeah, I think I use Xiangling most when I need pyro and DPS. Okay, other units. I think I forgot Sucrose. So Sucrose, of course, I didn't use her much before. I didn't understand what the Viridescent Shred meant. So when I found out about that, I built Sucrose, and just a good level so she won't die. I didn't give much Elemental Mastery before, but ever since the 1.6 patch arrived, when Kazuha arrived, and there was an EM buff for the swirls, the electro charge, transformative reaction, so I ended up leveling her to 90 and giving her as much elemental mastery as possible. And she's useful for a lot of teams. So I think it's and there's no need for explanation for Sucro. So the next 4 stars, if I remember, was Yanfei. So no, it was Rosaria. Rosaria at first, she didn't have that much use for me. I got Rosaria in the Tartaglia banner, and I happened to get so many of this. Yes. Hi. Thanks for watching. For Rosaria, this is strange because when I was pulling for Tartaglia, I happened to get her to C5. And that was the most I got a 4-star in a single banner, C5. And so I ended up leveling her as well, because she does have utility for cryo application and for physical teams, especially at C6. So for now, I don't use her so much. I think I sometimes use her with Ganyu for their burst. So yeah. Rosaria, yes, Favonius Lance for Rosaria, and sometimes I give her the 4-piece Noblesse for that team. Ganyu, Rosaria, Kokomi, and Kazuha. So that's my feasting for Rosaria. Okay. Yanfei, I didn't use Yanfei that much because I have Diluc and Xiangling. So Yanfei was just a side grade for being a fire DPS, and I always have a problem in keeping her burst up for most of the time. I also didn't get C6 so early. I think C6 was just I just got this within this year. And 8, 8, 11. Maybe if I get a better 5-star catalyst, maybe Winsett is good, but yeah, I have problems with maintaining her energy, so I don't use her that much. I think I tried using her as a shielder for Hu Tao, but it was too complicated. So those are the 4 stars before the Inazuma patch. So maybe I should talk about the 5 stars first. So Diluc was my first 5-star. I got him at like 23 or 24th pull in the limited banner. So of course, he was my first DPS, and he was one of the strongest DPS at that time. So that was around 1.2. So it was always Diluc, and they even used Kaching back then. No one used Xiangling correctly, I think. And yeah, so Diluc. Yeah, I think I have him built. So yeah, I think I have him built decent enough. With this one. I just wish that she can be a bit much stronger. Maybe a better claymore for Diluc. Although the Red Hornies are really strong, but yeah, harder to play maximally. I think Xiangling is easier to play and does more damage for lesser investment than Diluc. But anyways, I still bought the skin for him because I really like this skin. It looks really cool. And maybe just a tribute for my first 5-star character. Okay, so for the next one, the next 5-star I got was Albedo, and this was actually the 4th pull after Diluc, so it was a guarantee. I didn't know at that time what about these guarantees, but then I got Albedo, and he actually became like my second DPS because I only had Diluc, and for Abyss you needed 2 teams, so Albedo was kind of like my main damage dealer in the second half. Although at that time I remember he was only doing 6k per skill. At that time it was bad. But the next one, so we heard about Ganyu, but I skipped Ganyu for the first banner because I aimed for Xiao, and I got Xiao in a 50-50. So I was screaming in my room because I got him, and yeah, Xiao really improved my account back then, and because I only had Diluc for my main DPS. And I was free to play back then, like November, December, January, February, and when Xiao arrived, I needed a weapon for him, so I ended up getting the Battle Pass and the Welkin, and ever since I've subscribed to the Welkin and the Battle Pass for these weapons. Xiao, unfortunately, there are situations where Xiao is very good, but in other situations he's not the best. Hopefully with Farzan, maybe he can get better, but I don't expect so much, especially on the single target. But who knows? And I happen to get the PJWS from standard banners. So at least he has his signature weapon for Xiao. And this artifacts. So my Xiao's artifacts are, I think I still gave him a very decent build that I use. And I think this is one of my most broken artifacts. Very high CV for him. And then we have this one. And I think I use Shiminawa. For this. And this. Yeah, I think this is good enough. For sure. So my next 5-star was... So Hu Tao was the next banner. And I skipped Hu Tao. And I tried to full for the next one. And I got Mona. So Mona... Yeah. Actually, I don't have much use for Mona. It's just... It's basically... Mona is basically for nuke damage. Or the buff. Or the damage per screenshot with the Holy Trinity. Like the Bennett, Sucrose, Mona. Other than that, maybe an extra Hydro Applicator. Mona is basically just that. I don't have much use for her. So sad. She's a 5 stars, but... And I think the next one I got was Tartaglia. So Tartaglia, I really wanted to get him. Actually, I wanted to roll for Venti at that time. Hello. Thanks for coming by. So, talking about Tartaglia, before his rerun, there was a Venti rerun, and I was actually planning to get Venti at that time. But then, I happened to clear floor 11 of Abyss. That floor 11 was the one with the energy drain. The one where you have to protect the monolith, and I just happened to clear that with 9 stars when I used Sucrose. So, when I realized that Sucrose may be enough to gather the crowds, I had my second thoughts on Venti, and I had to skip Venti at that time. So I got Tartaglia instead after, with the guarantee that I made because I lost to Mona in the previous banners. And then, so Tartaglia is, yeah, one of my strongest hitting units, especially in the international. Though I wouldn't say I mastered it. Although I just recently used Tartaglia in the Pyro Hypostasis event, and I had, yeah, and that's why this is my team right now, because I had to use these 4 Hydro units for one cycling the Pyro Hypostasis, because if you don't one cycle it, it will take a really long time. So Tartaglia can nuke, Tartaglia can apply a lot of Hydro, Tartaglia can do a lot of damage, especially in AoE. In single target, they can still do quite a good amount of damage with Xiangling. So all in all, I think getting Tartaglia was a really good decision for the account. Hu Tao. So Hu Tao, about Hu Tao. So I actually had to skip Hu Tao because at that time when I was playing, I already had the look, and I said I already had a Pyro DPS. I needed DPS from other elements, and at that time the content was a lot easier. So Diluc was more than enough at that time. So I had to skip Hu Tao, and actually I think I pulled on the Hu Tao banner, but that's where I got Mona. Maybe, I can't remember. So Tartaglia was the next one, and then after Tartaglia, there was going to be a rerun of Zhongli. I think the 1.5 patch.
Osmanthus wine tastes the same
So
as I remember.
Zhongli is basically like a cheat code.
But where are those?
Something because of this shield. He doesn't really do so much, but even though he has that shield, which most of his utility comes from, and there is still the passive where it reduces the resistance of the enemies. So I think he's still useful in a lot of teams, especially those for Animo and the Geo, where you don't have the Verdus and Venerer set working. So Zhongli, I mostly use him for Ito and Zhao teams, and as for the other teams, I just use a healer or maybe no healer at all. So Zhongli doesn't see much gameplay unless for those specific teams with Ito and Xiao. Okay, Hu Tao. Hu Tao maybe is going to get a rerun. Hopefully around Lantern, right? So I hope you get him. I hope you get Hu Tao. Yeah, Hu Tao. I'll talk about Hu Tao later because I'm gonna go over their orders when I got them. So after Zhongli, this is 1.5. So 1.6 is the next patch. 1.6 is when I got Kazuha. So I aimed for Kazuha at that time. I skipped Eula, the Eula banner, because I saw her and I didn't like much the gameplay. I was always chasing around enemies and hitting them with the claymore, and there was a lot of setup. And I thought that getting Kazuha with the ability to pull units together, and since I also did not get Benti because I skipped him, Kazuha would be good. They said skip Kazuha when you already have Venti, you already have Sucrose. But at that time, I was starting to build my Kaya, and Kaya is Cryo, and in the Cryo Priest team, you don't get melts. You don't need the EM transfer from Sucrose. But Kazuha was able to give elemental damage bonus. So for that team, Kazuha was the best pick that I could get. And since I really liked Kaya, I had to get Kazuha no matter what. And yeah, I lost to Diluc, and then that made me guarantee for Kazuha. That's why I got him on his first ban, just before Inazuma run. I just have him use the Iron Sting at that time, but lately I've been using the Sacrificial Sword because I want the utility of the skill pulling ability. So I sacrifice the energy because most people use the Fabonio Sword, but I would rather use the Sac Sword because I do not have C1. I don't actually plan to get any constellations of these 5 stars because I think they aren't necessary. You can still beat the game with the C0 characters. So Kazuha is one of the best units in this account. Like, it really makes a whole lot of difference if you have Kazuha. So if there's a chance that you don't have him yet and he gets a rerun, get Kazuha. I think it's the best animo unit for now. So after Kazuha, so Raiden, I had to skip Ayaka. Wait, let's see the order. Okay, as for the order, talked about this. Okay, so I wanted to get Raiden in her banner. I had to skip Ayaka and Yoimiya. Ayaka, I didn't want to pull for Ayaka because I had Kaya at that time. It's like pulling for Ayaka is making all my efforts to build Kaya go to waste. And I wouldn't have that. So I skipped any pulls for Ayaka. Yoimiya was next, and even though I like her design, I didn't like the single target pyro because we already have a lot of single target pyros, like, you know, Diluc, you have Yanfei, you have Klee, I think, but I didn't want Klee as well, so I had to skip her in the 1.6 because, like I said, I already had this pyro DPS, so any pyro DPS in the future was like not really needed. Yeah, so Ayaka and Yoimiya, I skipped them, and it was already the Raiden banner, and that's when the first time I got Jean. I got Jean, I lost the 50-50, and I actually wanted Jean because I needed someone to pair with Xiao. Xiao needed a battery, and Jean was the perfect one. I actually got Sayu first, in that at that time. I think I pulled for Sayo in the previous banners, and thankfully I just built her. I just built her up to 40 because it would have been a total waste when Jin arrived like a few weeks later, and I am just going to play Sayo. So Sayo is just for the exploration and the animal crystal flies, the crystal flies, getting them. I don't have much use for Sayo. So Raiden is the next one. So I built Electro Traveler first, but I ended up getting so disappointed with the burst. You can't even feel his own burst. So how can he battery others if he can't even battery himself? So Raiden was like she's strong. I saw her damage. No? Even at C0, she does well, especially in that Raiden national team. So it's a really good team, and I usually just use her in that team. Although now you can use her for hyper blooms and even the hyper curry Raiden, though much better at C2. Although I do clear Abyss using C0 Raiden with the catch, and just with Bennett, Sarah, and Kazuha. So she can still function as like a main DPS, although not as impressive. But I don't think it's necessary to get constellations for these units. Like Raiden, no. I'm just staying at C0. I know I don't have need for this. Even if like gives 40% more damage, I don't need it. So Raiden. Okay, so what happens next? After Raiden, what banner is after? After Raiden is the Kokumi banner, I think. But that's not when I got Kokumi. I actually just pulled for this banner just to get my Xingqiu C6 copy. And I had to skip Kokumi at that time. There was no Ocean Youth Clan, so very limited. We didn't understand Kokumi's importance yet in the meta. And once I realized that, I got her in her first year. But I think one of the main reasons is because I pulled on that weapon banner. I never pulled on the weapon banner before, and I got the Everlasting Moonglow instead of the Jade Cutter. So I ended up having a weapon that is useless on every other units in the game, and the only character that can use that weapon is Kokumi. So I had to get her on her rerun because I also saw a lot of uses for the hydro application of Kokumi and the healing. So I think overall Kokumi was a good pull on her rerun. Not on the first one, because poor understanding, no artifact set yet. Sarah is just, I don't know. Sarah is not that good in a lot of teams. Maybe for Raiden, maybe for buffing electro characters, but it's too niche. It's very niche. So Sarah is actually C6. I don't remember how I got her to C6, but C6 Sarah, you can boost Raiden's damage. So I also had ground this one just to maximize the damage. I still haven't gotten her to 90, and I used Moon's Moon before, and I recently got the Skyward Harp, so I'm going to give the Skyward Harp to Sarah. Sarah. What's the next one? Aloy. So we got Aloy is just for the hunting passive. Not really so many use for Aloy other than that. So let's skip. Okay, Toma is one of the next Inazuma characters that I got. Okay, this is a bad experience because I wanted to get Toma just for the sake of collecting every 4 stars, because I had every 4 stars in the game always on their first banner. So I had to pull for Toma, but it was the Hu Tao banner, and I didn't really want to pull for Hu Tao because, like I said, I already have the Pyro DPS I need. But unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I think Hu Tao arrived at 48 PT on a 50-50. So I got Hu Tao. And then after 2 pulls, I got Toma. I got a bit frustrated that I lost. I wasted my Primo Gems or my Fate for Hu Tao because I wasn't gonna use her. And I ended up benching her for maybe 2 patches until I decided to build her. Just for Toma. And Toma was mostly useless until Dendro arrived. But now I actually have Toma at level 90 because for the Virgin teams. So after Toma, we have Goro. Goro is one of the characters I'm really excited about when I first heard about him because of Albedo. And there was a rumor about the Albedo sword. Getting that sword, getting the Husk set, getting Goro. So everything for just to make Albedo deal more damage. It was like a blessing for Albedo at that patch. So I got Goro the moment that time. And I also wanted to have what do you call Geo DPS. So Noel and Ningguang, I didn't think they would be the one. So I had to pull for Arataki Ito because he's a specialized Geo DPS and looks to be the strongest one out there. And he didn't disappoint. So I had a lot of Primo Gem saved. So I pulled for Ito and I got him. I think that was a 50-50 because I just got Hu Tao and then I won the 50-50 and got Ito. So I went on to the weapon banner and luckily I got the Red Horn Stone Treasure in the first one. So I didn't have to repeat. Okay, so I got Ito and then I got the Red. And then what happened is I wanted more Goro constellations because I only have, I think, C1 or maybe C2 at that time, and I needed a boost for Goro. So I ended up pulling for the Ito banner more times. And the thing is, I got Ito again. So that's why Ito is C1. I think he's the only C1 of my limited 5-star characters because it was accidental. I don't pull for copies of limited 5-star characters. I think it was around the 69 pulls. Yeah, I think 69. It was a nice number. So I think and then the crazy thing is after I did 2 more pulls I got Jean. So I got Jean. That means my next pull was guaranteed. I got Jean. Next pull was a guarantee. Yes, and what happened was... Okay, so for the next 5 stars were Shanha and Yaemiko. And I didn't want to get them. So I really had to wait a long time before the Kokomi rerun. And then I got Kokomi for that guarantee that I got because I got Jean at C2. So Ito is still one of my... talking about Ito, he's one of my strongest units in the game. Like, if you don't want to think about what to do in Spiral Abyss and just want to kill everyone there, so I just bring Ito. And yeah, he makes quick work of, I think, the second half of Abyss right now. Ito, Albedo, Goro, and Zhongli. So after Ito, I got Kokomi. And then the next one is Ayato. So Ayato is a character I really didn't need because I had Tartaglia. But I ended up... what did I do? I ended up wishing for this. I think I wanted to get Ayato at first, but I lost to Kachin. And then I was actually happy because I didn't have Kachin before. And So for the first time in the Ayato banner, I got Kashi. But then I happened to get so many Yunjins that I think Yunjin was support for Ayato at the time for the normal attack. But she was already around C4, and I I just kept on pulling, and I ended up getting Ayato and getting C6 Yunjin. But right now, I I don't think I use Ayato that much. Maybe in the open world before when I was doing collecting friendship points, but in the Abyss, I think I would rather use other hardware units or Tartaglia. Ayato is easier to use than Tartaglia, but Tartaglia is just, I think he's stronger right now than Ayato. In my case, for my case. Okay, Yelan. Yelan is a character I told myself before that I didn't need this one because I already have Xingqiu C6. And while getting another one, another Xingqiu-like character was a really good addition to the account. It was hello. So getting Yelan at that time is it's kind of like a luxury, but it's also good to get Yelan. But you know, would you really want to use your Primogems for another character that does the same thing, Xingqiu? And I think a slightly worse Hydra application at C0. So, and as luck would have it, I happened to pull for the Yelan banner, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't get her. And she arrived, I think, at 18 PT, somewhere around that number. So, yeah, it was not a waste because I got her early. So, and yeah, I must say that she really helps a lot. She really helps a lot. It's an understatement, maybe, that it's just, it's what I can say is she helps a lot, but she's really valuable. Although at that time I thought to myself that it was too expensive to get another one. Yes, I won the 50-50. I got Ayato, and then after around 18, I got Yelan. So it was really a win because even though I wanted to get another Xingqiu, I didn't want to spend the fates, but I got her on the very early wish. So it turned out very good. Very good. So actually I just used Yelan in the Pyro Hypostasis event, right? Just earlier. So she helps with the clearing the Pyro armor of the, and of course her burst is really strong. Yelan's burst is really strong. Like it's so strong. It's a lot stronger than Xingqiu's. So even at C0 Yelan with a Fabonius Warbow, it's still a lot stronger than Xingqiu's burst. So that's why she is really a stronger Xingqiu. It's just at that time I didn't want to waste, but let's just be thankful we got her. And she's very useful and strong. Okay, Cookie. Another one. Okay, so she's the first dedicated electro healer. At that time, there really wasn't much use for Cookie. Maybe I think they use her for Eula for healing and applying the electro for superconduct. And when I saw the EM scaling, I was really confused. Why? But I think there was a part of me that thought maybe this character is for the future. So what I ended up doing is leveling her up to 80, and I farmed for Elemental Mastery Thundering Fury pieces, and I gave it to Cookie and used the Iron Sting on her. Maybe she can do something for the Electrocharge teams. And at that time, she didn't do much. But when Dendro arrived, well, you know the story. Cookie Hyperbloom is one of the strongest free-to-play friendly friendly things. So I actually have managed to get 9 stars in floor 12 and the Abyss version, the version before, with just using Dendro Traveler, and 7 other 4-star units, and they all used a level 1-star weapon, and we managed to get 9 stars for floor 12, and that's because of Cookie and Toma, just because of how broken Virgin and Hyper Bloom is. Although in this Abyss probably can't do that anymore because of the how tanky the units are, the enemies are. So Cookie wasn't that great before, but right now she's a very viable DPS. So we should be thankful that MiHoYo actually gave us a really good unit. Okay, so the next one is Hazel. So Hazel is the first male Catalyst user that uses some sort of a melee mode, like fighting in a fist with his fist and with his kicks. And there's a lot of comparison between Sucrose and him. So actually, I have Hazel quite built, but he's not really the best one for me yet. Maybe I need C6 for him to work. But I do have his talents at 8, 12, and 8. So I use the Solar Pearl for him. So talking about Hazel, he's like a side grade to Sucrose, but he can also be a main Animo damage dealer. So you can either build him Elemental Mastery, or you can build him to be main DPS. So like I just borrow Shao's artifacts. So like this, and use the Solar Pearl. Then yeah, he has a great ratio. Energy is nice, solved with C4, but he doesn't really hit that hard yet. Maybe Farazan will help that. But how much do I hit with him? I think with Bennett and Yalan and Zhongli, I think I hit maybe 120k. But
Where I'm from,
not yet
if we
enough
didn't keep
for me. Shao still out DPS Hazel in my account. So not yet for Hazel at this time.
moving, we'd freeze.
Farazan, maybe I'm going to build him further once Farazan arrives. Okay, so for the next one, so we have Kale is the first Dendro character that is a 4-star. That's not the Traveler. Actually, Kale is one of the units I use for that challenge of clearing Abyss with only 4-star units and Dendro Traveler, and using only 1-star level 1 weapons and getting 9 stars. So I can say she did her part at that time, but she's not really the best Dendro or the most consistent Dendro applicator in the game. Although she does have that talent where there's a spinning Dendro around her. It's kind of like a Cookie and Barbara, so it does help. But I think she's really clunky to use.
Literally.
Especially because of the boomerang. It's like sometimes the boomerang does not even hit the enemy. It's so slow. And then when it returns, sometimes it still doesn't hit the enemy, and then you don't get the particles, you don't get the Dendro application. But one of my faults is maybe still level 40. You can't even get her other talent. Yes, to extend the burst. So maybe that's why I'm having difficulty in
The Harbingers are up
using
too.
Kale, because of the no passive talent.
Fluff.
Okay. And okay, so Tignari is the 5-star I got after Yalan. So Tignari, I specifically aimed for him because there's no way to assure getting him with the standard banner if he arrives at the standard banner. So better get Tignari now on his banner back then than to leave it to chance. So I got Tignari, so I used the Viridescent Hunt for him, and the Wanderer's Troop. I actually have
Steaming
a
on an
Wanderer's Troop, the artifact set before. So that's why I just had to transfer it to Tignari. And Tignari. So actually, I also have this bow for him. What do you call that one? It's a 3-star bow. Yes, this one. very similar damage to Viridescent Hunt. And then I happened to get this Wanderer's Troop, so it was easy for me to decide on getting Tighnari because I already had the artifacts to give him. I just needed to look for a Dendro Goblet, and he's done. So yeah, maybe needs more crit rate, but I think good enough. And he's very good at bosses. Oh, sorry. Is he your strongest? So, oh, what? Which character are you talking about? Sorry, I didn't read it. I didn't read it earlier. So, Tighnari. Tighnari. Yeah, he's kind of strong. Although, maybe I have to fix my rotations for single target, of course. Tighnari is really strong for single target. It's a shame that C6 is so far to get, and you can't get guarantees of Tighnari anymore. But if you get C6, the cluster bloom arrows, yeah, the cluster bloom arrows, they really should
Scale, no doubt.
Oh wait, I actually forgot to talk about Hu Tao. I forgot to talk about Hu Tao because I ended up actually building Hu Tao after benching her for like 2 months, and I used that much. I think I actually can use a lot of weapons for her, and I have Crimson Witch for her. That's why it was worth it. It was kind of worth to build Hu Tao at that time because unluckily for Diluc, there were so many HP scaling artifacts or HP substat artifacts of my Crimson Witch before, so that's why I gave that to Hu Tao. And I think Yalan is borrowing this one. And then we have, I think this one, especially this one, I really hated seeing this on Diluc. So thankfully I got a replacement for this one so that Hu Tao can use this. I don't remember if this is the sans I use or this one. Definitely this is not the right build because I need the EM. I think this was my go-to artifact set for Hu Tao. Otherwise, I get my team for Hu Tao before was Hu Tao, Albedo, and Xingqiu and Zhongli. So I just make Zhongli use the instructor set. So instructor set will transfer 120 EM for Hu Tao. So after using Xingqiu with Noblesse, then Albedo with the elemental burst, then Zhongli to activate instructor, and then switch to Hu Tao. So they're gonna do great single target damage for Content. 4-star artifact. 4-star artifact. No, no, I'm not using 4-star artifacts. Do you mean weapon for this?
Where I'm from, if we didn't keep moving, we'd freeze to death.
Okay, so for Hu Tao. On Zhongli and Hu Tao. Yes. So even though the instructor set is just 4-star, thankfully because of Zhongli's strong shield, it didn't matter much. So I just have to build Zhongli. I just had to use the Black Tassel. I can even use the Fabonius lance. And then I just slap the instructor set. But preferably you would want Zhongli to use the instructor set there, to instructor set and the Fabonius lance, so that he can help you with the energy. But you can't be picky with 4-star artifacts because it's hard to get instructor sets, and of course the substats, they are too few. Very few substats. The rolls are very minimal, so you can't get much stats from the 4 stars, but it was enough. I had him use something like this, and then maintain the HP. Okay, sorry. It's factors. So yeah, basically this one. So he still has 43. 43
Osmanthus wine tastes the same as I
43 HP.
remember.
So, you don't expect
But
to
where
die.
are those who
Even with
share the memory?
So, the EM transfer is better than the attack buff, I think, with tenacity. In some cases. But right now, for Hu Tao, I already replaced Albedo with Yelan. So, Yelan. So, Yelan provides the Hydro Resonance and that boosts Zhongli's shield and Hu Tao's damage and Yelan's damage as well. So, all in all, okay, for the next one, Ignari is the last one I talked about, right? So Dory. I don't really want to talk about Dory. Unfortunately, right now there's really not so much use for her, especially since Cookie has been buffed by a lot with the Dendro. So using Dory is very situational. Maybe a meme. For now, maybe I haven't thought of anything yet, but I've seen a lot of videos and no one really uses Dory. Candice is maybe just a gimmick. It gives you the Hydro Infusion. You have like a mechanic similar to Beda and Yunjin, but it doesn't really do much. I don't know. Maybe some other players have a use for Candice, but for my account, there's none. I think I saw Lacola, the one who likes the Hydro units, use Candice for the nukes, but for me, no. Okay, Sino. I thought I was actually going to get Sino in the first time because you saw him in the Teba Travel video, and he's the first Sumer character to be advertised. But when I saw the kit, and then I saw the difficulty or the lack of synergy, or maybe Sino has that Hyper Bloom team as well. But ever since Kaching and Fischl, Kazuha and the Dendro worked together so good and shredded so many enemies, I had no use for Sino. Basically, Kaching was like the better one to use at that time. So getting Sino's wasting my Prima Gems and the materials I used to ascend Kaching. And I also bought Kaching skin. So since I bought Kaching skin, I had to use it. Nilu is like niche. You can use her for vaporized teams and for, of course, the blooms. But I didn't want to be restricted so much on that team. Actually, it's kind of like hypocritical to say that Nilo has such a niche team, because what about Ito? Ito actually uses Albedo, Goro, and for reviewing accounts, I'm just reviewing my account. So for this one, this is my 2 years of playing Genshin. So November 26, 2 years ago, I started playing Genshin. And the story there, how I discovered Genshin was actually, so Ubisoft, I play Ubisoft games, Assassin's Creed, and they had this game called Immortals Phoenix Rising. And I was watching trailers of that, and I saw in the comment sections, they say, looks like Breath of the Wild. Looks like Breath of the Wild. And then some other comments, looks like Genshin. So I got curious, and what's Genshin? And I wanted to play something similar just to prepare myself for that game. And I ended up looking at Genshin videos, like the reviews, and I found out that it was free. So I downloaded it and played it. So I didn't play gacha games before, but I ended up really loving Genshin. So much that I didn't need to buy that Phoenix game anymore. Although I did end up buying Phoenix later on when there was a sale. But I haven't finished that one yet because the puzzles are just so repetitive and sometimes over complicated. So Genshin is still my go-to game for now. So Nilou, yeah. Talking about the niche, Nilou. So niche, you need to get the Hydro and the Dendro units to trigger that passive. But there are other niche teams as well. So like Ito, because Ito works best when it's just Geo. So there's really not so much difference. You're just doing Geo damage, and this one you're just doing Bloom damage. So maybe it's unfair to call Nino too niche, but I suppose I wouldn't need the Dendro explosion so much because you have Cookie, you have Toma, and there's a lot more variations than just Bloom. So I had to skip Nilo, and I already have like Yelan, Ayato, Kokomi, Tartaglia, and then all of these are 5-star Hydro units. I really wouldn't want to get another Hydro unit. Okay, so Nahida is the next one. Okay, so I got Terinari and Nahida. Okay, I actually forgot if I want her in the 50-50 or not. What happened? Yes. So after I got Tignari, I somehow managed to snag Mona at around 20 plus PT. So it made it so much easier for me to get Nahida because it was on a guarantee. So for Nahida, it was so easy to build, and I really loved the Dendro so much. And even though Traveler is really good at applying Dendro, it's just that Nahida not being limited to that circle and not having to worry about the burst to apply Dendro, it was really a huge boost to the Dendro Electro teams, especially the teams that needed the Dendro cores. So you can make unlimited cores. But for Traveler and Kole, they sometimes have difficulty in keeping up because you have to manage the energy, you have to manage the burst placement, you have to manage the skill usage, you have to use sacrificial sword, a lot of other things. So to make it easier for you to get Dendro. But for Nahida, it's just like a brain dead. So and you have a lot of options. You have Magic Guide for my Kaching and Fischl team because they can apply a lot of Electro and maintain that aura. Otherwise, I'm just going to use the maybe Sacrificial Fragments. Mapamari is hard. With Sit not so much. I don't like the RNG Mapamari. Maybe not so easy to trigger this one. So it all depends. Maybe Sacrificial Fragments if I can't apply Electro fast enough, and then Magic Guide if I can. Okay, Lila is the last character I got. Basically, it's just a side grade to Diona. Can provide a stronger shield, but otherwise, I think I rather prefer Diona if I'm going to want to get energy, because the moment her skill hits the enemy, the energy is already generated, while for Layla, you're going to have to wait for a bit. And I don't want to waste more resources since I already have the shielder, and unless she has a broken damage, I'm not gonna be building Layla. Okay, let me just double check if I already went over all my characters. Okay, Amber, Gaia, Lisa, Barbara, Racer, Shangling, Beidou, Shinjo, Ningguang, Fischl, Bennett, Chongmin, Sucrose, Jean, Chi-Chi. I haven't talked about Chi-Chi yet. Okay, she's Chi-Chi. Oh, where are you going to use Chi-Chi? What does my Chi-Chi look like? So, I think there was a time that I had so much resources, like I wasn't building anyone, so I managed to get her to 70. And you can see, basically not built. But thankfully, I didn't get any more constellations. Thankfully. Okay, Diluc is C3, and then we have Jean. Oh wait, where's Jean? Diluc is C3, and then okay, let me use this one. Where's Jean? Okay, Jean C2. I wanted to get C4, but now that Farzan is gonna arrive, there's really not so much use for this one. So sad. Yeah, but it will save me a lot of time trying to get C4 of Jean. Kaching is C1, Mona is C2, I think. And yeah, those are my standard 5 stars. Yeah, I think I still forgot one more. Venti. Venti was my latest Venti before Nahida, I think. So Venti, I just had this feeling that even though I really don't need Venti, just for the sake of collection, when I use Venti, I have so many problems with this burst. Like, if you're going to press the burst button and then he just randomly selects any target to place the burst on, and sometimes it's so far away and can't pull any other units, and then swirling the burst is very difficult. You have to wait for a few seconds. You can't control which element you swirl. But as for Kazuha, it's really predictable. Since with Kazuha, you know that if there's a pyro, it will swirl pyro. If there's hydro and electro, it will always swirl hydro first, if I remember correctly. And it's just more predictable. And Kazuha can boost elemental damage, but Venti cannot. And Venti will rely on his burst to CC the enemy, but Kazuha, you have the skill, so you can use it more often. Even though it does not last long or has a wide area, you can use it more often. In Kazuha, you can control where you want the pull to be, unlike Venti, who sometimes don't just work as to how you want him to work. Okay, did I still miss anyone? Ganyu. I forgot to talk about Ganyu. Ganyu is also a unit that I got but really didn't need. So it was in the latest rerun. So I was thinking, I have this Wanderer's Troop artifact set, the one that Tignari uses, and maybe it can work on Ganyu. So I tried to pull for her, but unfortunately, I got Kaching's C1. And this was bad because I kind of got frustrated that for the first time I didn't get a character that I aimed for. Okay, I didn't need Ganyu, but I actually aimed to get her at that time. I ended up buying the crystal packs, the next to the most expensive one, just so that I can get Ganyu. But right now, and because she was so expensive, she's the most expensive character here, at least for me, because I actually had to use the crystals to get her. I ended up running her auto attacks and her burst, and she's actually good. I have the prototype present for her. I didn't have the Skyward Harp before, but I had Kaya's artifact set that I could make her borrow. So she was easy to build at that time, and she did damage that you would expect. I think I preferred using the one with the more attack for Ganyu, or I don't know. I think Prototype Crescent. I can't remember the one I used. It was attack. Okay. Maybe I borrow Deluxe Sands. I think this one. Okay, so I think this was good enough for the Blizzard Sphere set. I think I'd go lower than this one. Doesn't matter. Yeah, she's good, but she's not. I don't like her playstyle that much. I don't want to wait for charge attacks, and the setup was a bit longer than what I usually like. And you know, I think Ganyu is just gonna be there for the sake of, you know, you got the top, the Liyue big tree before. I think Yelan's the best one as of now, and Xiao is fallen off. But anyway, just for collection purposes, don't really like Ganyu that much. Sorry for those who really like Ganyu, but I think I really prefer Kaya more. And that's why he's triple crown and Ganyu is not. So, did I still miss anyone? Oh, Yay Miko. I didn't want to pull for her because at that time there was no Dendro and I had Beidou. So Beidou was my best Electro DPS aside from Raiden at that time. So there was no Dendro yet. And now that Dendro has arrived, it just made needing Yae not so much important because you have Fischl. Do you regret getting Venti? Yes, I think I regret getting him, but maybe not so much because I told myself this was for collection purposes only. That's why I just got him in the latest rerun, not on the first 2 reruns he had. It was for collection purposes only. So the moment I got him to Friendship 10, he's sitting on the bench right now. Yeah. Maybe in Abyss he can still be used like to pull the mobs for floor 11. Usually they have mobs for floor 11, but unfortunately not the best right now. Okay. So what I'm gonna do this time is this is gonna take so long, but how do they look with their artifacts on and with their weapons? So how do I build them? So Tartaglia. This is gonna take so long. But what artifacts do I actually give this units? Maybe this one and this one. I think, yeah. I think this. I used to have Tartaglia on the Viridescent hunt. Very useful passive, gathering up enemies. As for Xingqiu, maybe no need to show his artifacts, but actually 4 noblesse, sacrificial sword, and maybe 60 to 120 ratio, and the energy is like 180. I think that's it. For Mona, it's just she uses the instructor set. Sometimes for Nook showcases, she uses the tenacity sometimes, but I rarely bring her to Abyss. She's just there for the damage showcase. For Yelan, my go-to weapon is the bonus Warbow, and in this case, I still don't have very good emblem pieces, so that's why I end up always switching with Raiden this emblem pieces. So I need more crit rate for Yelan. This one is the crit damage, so I have to switch with Raiden, these two, every time. And I think this is good enough. I actually don't wanna crown this anymore because, as I said earlier, it's just too strong. It's just too strong, like really stronger than Xingqiu at level 13. So why would I need to even crown this one if it's already too strong? And she's using Fabonius Warbow, not even the strength. And she's already hitting so hard. Okay. Kazuha is nothing too special. Sacrificial Sword 798. Elemental Mastery everything. Both. It would have been nice to get some crit and energy recharge on this, but you cannot really be. This is so sad. Picky with the substats. Catching is one of my strong DPS right now because of Dendo, and so this is what I run her with. This is unfortunate. Defense, and my goblet is also unfortunate, but I have to live with this for now. This is also unfortunate, but it does have some crit. And there, it's my touching. Miss Flitter. Okay, Miss Flitter is barely an improvement over the Lion Sword, that's R5. But if you take a look at Dendro, sometimes it cannot maintain the Electro Aura, so Miss Splitter will be better than the Lion Sword in this case. So she's 1099. I don't really remember why I crowned the auto attack, but maybe I should have just crowned the burst. I don't know. Okay, Traveler. So I really like the Dendro Traveler. I got his talents very. It's very useful constellation. It's like if you don't have Nahida, then Dendro Traveler is really good. So official, I really like her talents. So for this one, I make her use these crit damage, Thundering Fury. The one that Tartaglia uses. And then I borrow this very high crit rate attack Sands for Xiao and Kazuha. And this one with good crit rate, and this one. So I only have 2 piece bonus, but the stats are better. So I'm gonna have to choose that. Crit rate could do better, but since she attacks fast, so it's maybe 54 is already okay, and Abyss also gives buffs. So official is okay for me. Bennett is already Aquila Fabonia. And just energy recharge. Could be better, but it's pyro damage bonus and energy recharge. And could have been crit rate, but unfortunately no energy recharge for this one. So I'm gonna stick with having 265 ER with Bennett, even though I'm using Aquila Fabon. Okay, Hazel, I already talked about his artifacts earlier. No. Okay, for Ito, so this is going to be my go-to build for Ito. Okay, so I'm not so lucky with the crit rolls, but if I remember, you should be getting more crit rate. So I'm gonna have to sacrifice some crit damage and defense. No, this is not his go-to, but I can't remember how to. I can't remember the. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Yes, so between those two, this is what I give Ito. So I really got locking with this geo damage bonus. 40 something CV. As for Albedo, of course, you can't give the best Huss set to both because you're lucky enough to get one good Huss set. So Albedo is just gonna have to deal with the slightly weaker one. And I can't remember what should his artifacts be. I think this one. Oh no, not that one. I think it needs more crit rate. Where's that one? Maybe this one. Yes. I think something like this. This is the one I gave him. So Cinnabar, Spindle, and 4-piece slots. No cons, crowned, skill. Okay, Zhongli is just for shield. Nothing too special. For Zhongli, Xiao, I think I already... No, I haven't shown his stats yet. What should be... yes, I think I already showed this one. No, maybe not. But I think if he has sufficient energy recharge, no, it should be the one. I think I already showed this one. Yes, maybe this or the other one. I think I showed it earlier. So Ganyu, I already showed this one. As for Raiden, so of course the catch C0 only. C0 is already okay for me. No plans on getting any more copies of Raiden. So what should be the artifact for this one? I think it's this one. And then I use this attack one. And I have the ER. Okay, it's actually interchangeable. But I rather prefer the ER one, so I have no problems getting my burst back up. But very similar in damage. I just borrowed this one from Yalan. And this should be my Raiden. So 54 plus 12 from the catch is 66. And not that high crit rate, but good enough. For me, at least for me. So talents 9 and 10. Okay, Nahida is next. So Nahida goes with... If I have better Gilded Dreams, I am going to give her a Gilded Dreams set. But unfortunately, no good 4-piece, and this is very unfortunate. It rolled on HP, and I don't have any other better ones. Maybe this one can be good, but I haven't yet leveled this up. So I just end up using this Elemental Mastery. Maybe I'm going to level this up. Sometimes I use a crit rate circlet, but in any case, this is more than good enough, for me at least. Tainari, I've already shown his artifact sets earlier. For Kokomi, so this is my build for her. So I got the donut from the first donut banner, aiming for the Jade Cutter, but unfortunately I got this one. This is not so much of an increase compared to Prototype Amber, so it's kinda useless. But anyway, I still give it to her because why not? So this should be my Kokomi build. I think she does around maybe 13k, even 15k normal attack damage with Kazuha, but nothing too special. I already showed Hu Tao. I already showed Diluc. Sucrose is just EM. Rosaria is nothing too special, so I'm not gonna show this anymore. As for Kaya, okay, this is easy to do because it's basically just lending his artifacts to Ganyu. So I'm just gonna take that away from her. Okay, let me borrow this one. Let me get this one. And no. So for this one, I find that Kaya likes the one with more attack than the crit damage. But otherwise, it's not so much noticeable. It's not noticeable enough. So just go with the better crits. So 36, 209, Missplitter. I think this is good enough for me. It could still be better because Kaya is already using a Missplitter. Still only 209 the hit damage, but I can have everything. And Kaya really likes attack. if there's no Bennett in the team, Kaya really likes attack more than crit damage in a lot of situations. As for Cookie, I just give her the Elemental Mastery, Gilded Dreams, full, then Iron Sting, and then, of course, level 90. So, Constellations, I think this is one of the best because it extends your skill duration. So Razor, nothing too special. As for Toma, so I crafted the Keytain Cross Spear R5 for Toma, and I can make him use the Gilded Dreams as well from Cookie. But in other cases, if I don't have those things, I can just make him use the Crimson Witch set. Although the Crimson Witch set doesn't hit as hard as the Gilded Dreams or the 2 Gilded and 2 Wanderers. But it still works. Like, maybe I just slap the best Crimson Witch with the most Elemental Mastery or even most Energy Recharge. So you would want Energy Recharge on Toma. Energy Recharge first before going for Elemental Mastery for Toma's case. Okay. They still have one. No more ER subs that's here, so I'm just gonna give him the one with the Elemental Mastery. And something like, wait, why is it so long? Oh. Yeah, just give him something like this. This is still solo, so you have to build Toma. Like, I think it's better to use for Gilded Dreams. Maybe you can use an ER sense for that if you want a Burgeon. But I rather find that Kazuha Burgeon is better because Kazuha already carries EM and he has Iridescent, and he can still buff your team while having EM, and he can burn or do the Burgeon for the Burgeon teams. So like with Ayato, Bennett, Dendro, for example, Nahida, and Kazuha. So I think that's a good Burgeon team. They also use Tartaglia with that one. As for Xiangling, this is my go-to. My go-to for Xiangling is Crimson Witch because I have very bad emblem pieces. Although I do have a good emblem Fire Goblet, but the emblem pieces are just bad. I think this is the one I use, yes. Basically, Hu Tao, Diluc, Yanfei, and Xiangling just swaps their pieces around. So maybe we can use this one. And then I just give her some energy recharge. And with 79, could have been more crit, but I think this is already good enough for me. Yeah, that's good enough for me, especially for the Raiden team. As for Xinyan, I think I farmed Lava Walker for her. Or maybe these are just the extra ones. And then I have the Pyro Damage Bones Goblet. Unfortunately for her, it all went to like HP and then defense. Just look at this. This is very sad. I wish this was attack because Xinyan really wants attack more than defense. Hello, thanks for dropping by this stream. And I really wish that this was more of crit. But unfortunately, yeah, that's it for Xinyan. Wait, what is this? This is crit rate, so I'm supposed to give her this one. Red Horn. I think she hits around 22k or up to 25k with Kazuha and Bennett. I need more crit rate for this one to work. As for Venti, you see I just leveled him up to 80 because I'm not going to use him that much. I just needed him to lift the enemies. for Abyss if I am going to use him for Abyss. But I'm not minding his damage so much. So even with the builds, I don't focus on the EM, I focus more on the energy recharge. But for Kazuha, it's all about the EM and then energy recharge. As for Jean, this is just a regular build. So I mostly use the Fabonnius sword when I pair her with Xiao. And then I think I focus more on getting at least maybe 60-70 crit rate here, and then the energy recharge maybe around 200, just to always maintain her burst so I can activate the Noblesse for Jean. And C2 balance is 8, so I don't really mind her damage that much. As for Ayato, so I have this R5 black sword, and Ayato is the one that uses the 4-piece Heart of Depth. Who is my main? If I'm going to choose a main, that should be Kaya, because Kaya is my favorite character in Genshin. But I use a lot of units. So, okay, can't remember much which one he uses. But I think for Ayato, I want to get his burst back. So I give him some energy recharge. So maybe this one. I think this is good enough for Ayato. Can I see your build, please? For whom? For Kaya? Oh yes. This is for my Kaya. I think there is a build here with more crit damage, but it doesn't really matter that much because Kaya really likes some attack. I guess from my experience, he likes more attack. So whether you get attack percent or crit damage, it doesn't really matter that much if there's no Bennett in the team. If there's Bennett, of course, then you just have to go with crit damage. So he's 3. I need crit rate. So Kaya has around 37 here. So 37, it's actually already enough because 37, if you add Cryo Resonance, you have 15 more. So that's 52. And then you add the Blizzard Stare effect. So that's 40. So Kaya already has 92 crit rate against frozen enemies. And then he has this Constellation which gives him 15% more crit rate for his normal attacks. So that's more than 100 already for the normal attacks. Region is Asia. Region is Asia. So that's for Kaya. Wait, who's next? Okay, Yunjin. So I just happened to get her C6 in one banner. Am I Filipino? Accent, maybe. You can tell. So Yunjin, Fabonnius Lance. I don't really have. There's nothing really something special about the builds for Yunjin. You just stack defense, stack crit rate and ER. So doesn't really need a showcase. As for Goro, yes, this is my build. This is my build. No need to swap. Maybe just this weapon. So 255 ER. So sometimes he needs a bit more ER, but yes, this is Fabonnius. Crit rate, defense. Actually, this does not really matter as long as you have crit rate and energy recharge. This one needs the crit rate. This one needs the crit rate, energy recharge, and this one energy recharge. I just need this 170 so that I can always proc the Fabonnius in little time. So like when I use his skill, and if that fails, I just have to do one auto attack to get the particles for Ito, because my Ito has very low energy recharge. Are you pulling for Wanderer? If I didn't have Xiao, maybe. But as of now, since Xiao is my third 5-star. So Diluc is my first, Albedo next, Xiao is my third, and he's my second actual DPS. So I've already invested a lot for Xiao, and I wouldn't want anyone to be replacing this one. So yeah, no more Animo DPS for me. And I still have Hazel, which is kind of built already, and maybe just needing Farazan for the support. What characters I don't have? Okay, so just to have a recap, I don't have Klee. Yes, I skipped this one because I already have a lot of pyro units, and
Where are you?
it's hard to use Klee. It's hard to use Klee. It's clunky, and I think outdated. Most of the time, I just see Klee for the C2 effect, I think, or the C4.
These bombs
But
so
she's strong
heavy.
if you play her right, but maybe not my skill level or trying to invest in her. Eula I skipped because I didn't like Isegal so much. And she's strong, but not my playstyle. Yoimiya, I actually like this character, but I don't want the single target. I already have Hutao for the single target. So actually I didn't have Hutao yet at that time, but I have Diluc for single target. So I had to skip Yoimiya because I already had Diluc. And then in the Hutao rerun, I got Hutao. So Yoimiya was still a skip in her next 2 reruns, unfortunately. Even though the voice actor for the Japanese one is Rin from Fate. It's a fun voice actress, but I have to skip. Even though she's really strong single target. As for single target, bow character, this one, Tignari, is gonna be my go-to. Like if you fight against the Wolf Lord or those flying ruin drakes, Tignar is gonna make quick work of them. So I'm already okay. Shanha is a niche for cryo. So I had to skip her, even though I would want like maybe to see Kaya do more damage, but I know it's just like I'm just borrowing Shanha's multipliers. It's not really from Kaya. It just feels a bit different when Bennett or Kazuha gives the attack box than when Shanha gives the damage. For Miko, I already have Peido and Fischl. And I had to skip her in the rerun because Dendro made Kaching and Fischl broken. Sino, Kaching. Because of Kaching. Nilo is too niche for me. Anyways, you did not pull for Sino. I mean, it's OP. Yeah, just like I said, Kaching. Kaching is one of my favorite characters. Like, if I have Kaya on the male ones, so Kaching is like my favorite for the female ones. And you can see, I bought her skin, and she just swaps with Kaya with a weapon. Yeah, good enough for. Could be better, but I think good enough for me, especially with Fischl, since Fischl is so broken right now.
I created another universe and founded paradise. For
Okay, Ningguang, Noel basically just borrows Ito's artifacts, but needs more energy recharge than Ito because she cannot generate energy if her life depended on unless you use Wobonius. Ningguang, I have 2 Glad and 2 I think I use Solar Pearl for her. But unfortunately, she cannot compete with Ito, so there's no point for me in leveling her up still. I just skip her here. Chongyun, I don't really need to level him up that much. He doesn't do much damage in the freeze team with Gaia. Because I'm gonna have to sacrifice the energy regeneration of Sacrificial Sword. Or Sacrificial Greatsword with Chongyun if I'm going to use a different weapon to deal more damage with Chongyun when I can just have Kaya do all the work. As for Sarah, it's just the regular emblem set and the I recently got this one, so we can give Sarah this one. So she's C6. I only use her for Raiden. And I don't think I use her for anyone else. Maybe just for some damage per screenshot. Maybe for Tignari if I want to do some testing, but no. As for Beidou, I think one of my difficult units to build because I need energy recharge for her, which makes this one really good, but I need crit rate, so Serpent Spine. But you have to stay a long time for this one. So in any case, I don't have a very broken artifact set for Beidou yet. It's really unfortunate that I don't even have 2 very good emblem sets. More so if I'm gonna find one for Beidou. But Beidou is really good. That's why I have her around. Amber, unfortunately, I actually bought one of these, and I think I got one from the standard banner. So art talents, I really tried to hit hard with Amber, but maybe I need a Amos bow for this one. And maybe have to wait for this to deal more skill damage to Baron Bunnies. Who's your first main character? My first main character that talking about main DPS. So Diluc. Diluc I got maybe around 23 pulls in my limited banner. So he's my first 5-star character. So, yes. So Diluc. So that's why I had to get this one. Just for him. I have to get this one for my first main. Yanfei. Basically, Yanfei is just going to borrow the same Crimson Witch sets of the other units. It's just a shame that this does not increase charge attack damage. The Solar Pearl only increases normal attack and the skill and burst, but Yanfei's damage comes from charge attacks. But if this somehow increases charge attack damage, but like I said, I have problems with Yanfei's burst getting back up, so I don't use her so much. Chi-Chi is just Chi-Chi. Leona, I just built her Noblesse with crit rate and Favonius Warbow and some HP. Doesn't really matter what she does for damage, if she has any. It's just as long as she can provide energy and shield and healing, it's okay. Barbara is just HP healing bonus, and sometimes Prototype Amber, sometimes Chilling Tales. Lisa, still not building her. I am going to have to wait for C6. I'm gonna buy from the shop every time. I just started buying last month, I think, or this month. I think this month I bought this one. This one I got from the standard. Sayu, there's no point in building Sayu right now because of Jean. Alloy is Alloy. Kole is just for Dendro application, so I didn't build her. Candice, no plans on using her. Dory, no plans. Layla is also no plans on using her. Just level them up to get the Acquaint Fates. Okay, so that's for my characters. So what are my weapons? So 2 years into playing Genshin Impact, I have a few 5-star characters because I don't normally pull for the weapon banner. So the first one I got was the Skyward Pride. This was for Diluc. So this was his go-to. This was the upgrade for the Prototype Arctic. And then I got the Battle Pass for Xiao and bought the Deathmatch. Then I somehow bought the Blacklip pole from the shop so he can have an alternative and someone can use the Deathmatch. And suddenly I got the spear, this spear from the standard banner. Yeah, and it's been Xiao's weapon ever since. And then after this one, I do not pull for the weapon banner until I wanted to try for the Jade Cutter, but it gave me the Everlasting Moonglow. So sad. I didn't pull for Kokomi that time, so no one used this. And I told myself I'm not going to be pulling for the weapon banner anymore. Until there was a time I really wanted to get the Mist Splitter for Kaya and Kaching. And this was the Mist Splitter and the Unforged banner. So what happened is I got the Aquila Fabonia first. So even though it wasn't the Mist Splitter, it was still a bit okay because Bennett can use this one. And I still tried. Maybe I can get lucky. And I got the Mist Splitter for the next PT. For the next soft PT. And no Unforged. Yeah, I think I got the Red Horn first. And the Ito banner. Red Horn first. And then Aquila. And then Mist Splitter. And then this one came from the standard banner just recently. So I've been collecting some of the Battle Pass weapons. The deathmatch, I actually have 2 of them. Because sometimes 2 characters are going to use them. Solar Pearl, I'm currently trying to R5 right now. So the first one I R5'd was Serpent Spine. And then the next one I R5'd was the Black Sword for Ayato. And then the Viridescent Town doesn't really improve with refinements. So after Solar Pearl, maybe I'm gonna refine the deathmatch. Then after that, is there anything else to review about this account? So I probably not anymore. Question. Gameplay. If you're still here, are you pulling for Wanderer? No, I'm not pulling for Wanderer. I think I answered this already. So no more Wanderer for this time because of Sha. See gameplay. I think I have my gameplays in my videos, so maybe you can check those things out. Though I'm not really so hardcore that I want to perfect everything I do in Genshin, and that's why it's good enough. It's good enough. I just post them on YouTube so I can have like something to look back to, like maybe after few more years when we finish this game.
You know, there are better ways to seek out our
that's why I
enemies
decided
than,
to
well,
do this
standing here.
record of me reviewing the account. So what's gonna happen after a few more years? What's my account gonna look like after? How many of the characters do I have? So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So 51 currently. Characters are 51. And I only do not have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So only 8 characters I do not have. I think that's good enough.
Okay.
Because I can play Yae Miko in my friend's account. I can play Ayaka in my friend's account. Although my friends do not have Yula or Klee, Yoimi or Shanghai, these 2. But I don't think I'm missing so much. Anyways, that should be it. If ever you watch a bit of the stream, thank you. And I'll be ending this now.